Hare Krishna. Mama Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namni Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Charini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य करुण नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण. So we'll continue the discussion. This is very nice points Prabhupada is sharing in this section. We have done this open file. So this is a very proper, nice recap Prabhuji did. He explained the whole context, what is happening around, and very important for us to know also. So I will just share this. Yeah, so here the beauty of the Lord, the exquisite beauty of Narayana being many times magnified by the intelligence of his devotees was so attractive that it defied the pride of goddesses of fortune and being the most beautiful. My dear demigods, the Lord, who thus manifested himself in worship by me, by Lord Shiva and all, by all of you, the sages regarded him with unseated eyes and joyously bowed their heads at his lotus feet. Screen not visible. Let me share. Now it is visible. Visible. Yeah. Now here Prabhupada is writing that in Vaikunta Narayana looks beautiful, whereas in Goloka Radharani is beautiful. That is, she is Madan Mohan Mohini. She is more beautiful. And then the next shloka says, when the breeze carried the aroma. So this is a very famous shloka. Tasya Ravindanayana Padaravinda Injal Kamishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu Antargatasva Vivarena Chakara Tesham Sankshovamaksharajusham Apichitta Tanvo. When the breeze carrying the aroma of tulsi leaves from the toes of the lotus feet of the personality of God enter the nostrils of the sages, of those sages, they experience a change both in body and in mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. So this is another very important verse because it is changing the heart of people who are having impersonal conceptions. So two shlokas in Bhagavatam like that. One is of Atma Ramascha Manayo Nirkanta Purupurave Kurvanta Hitukim Bhaktim Ittam Bhutam. See when the Atma Ramas get attracted. So that is told about Sukadeva Goswami. And this shloka is told about the four Kumaras, Tasya Ravindana Nasya Padarana, Kinjal Kamishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu, Antargatasya Vivarena Chakara Desham Samsobharaksharajuham Abhichitta. Because it has changed their conception, impersonal conception. This is impersonal Brahman understand. So this is a very important verse in that way because this is to change a person's heart. It appears from this verse that the four Kumaras or impersonalists are protagonists of the philosophy of monism, becoming one with the Lord. But as soon as they saw the Lord's features, their mind changed. In other words, the impersonalists who feels transcendental pleasure in striving to become one with the Lord is defeated when he sees the beautiful transcendental features of the Lord. Because of the fragrance of his lotus feet carried by the air and mixed with the aroma of tulsi, their minds changed. Instead of becoming one with the Supreme Lord, they thought it wise to be devotees. Become a servitor of lotus feet of Lord is better than becoming one with the Lord. So the point here is they got, of course, mercy. That's why they are able to turn. Uh, Even the Lord visible to the people in this world, say suddenly Lord comes and he is visible at some part of this world. Of course, Lord is there on all the temples and all deities. Pratima nahi tumi sakshat vrajanan. Now the question may come, if Lord is Sakshat Vrajanandan, he is directly standing like Jagannath or Shamsundar or Madhav, Krishna Bal. Why people's heart is not changing? Here Kumara's heart changed, but it is not happening to all these people. Very few people, Ramanujacharya took Dhanurdas and he showed the uh, Ranganath form of Ranganath. Immediately his heart changed. He said, okay, I'll dedicate my life to Ranganath. But it does not happen because it happens only by the mercy of a devotee. Then they can see the beauty of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible. Jagannath was there, so many people were there, but Prabhupada went and he explained what he is. And through Prabhupada, if you see, we can get attracted to Jagannath's beauty. And like if you have Radha and Krishna, it is easy to accept. Okay, Krishna looks quite very beautiful form, Krishna, or we have Lakshmi Narayana. Even Gaurnitai also, West, it was easy because it's a human form and you can nicely make. Now, Prabhupada, he told Jagannath is Supreme Lord. In the West, it's not even like looking like a human form also. It is some sort of image. And Prabhupada is telling, see, he is the Supreme Lord. And now they got attracted and they started loving Jagannath. They did Ratha Yatra for Jagannath. And not only just simple, that is one of the biggest, grandest thing. Like millions of people used to attend different places. Now 5,000, 6,000 people in one Rath Yatra like that. So many millions around. Now it looks like, what is this? There is some some peculiar image, and they are telling he's God, and not only God, they are putting him in a big chariot and they are pulling him and taking a big procession. It looks little difficult, but still, how they could get attracted to Jagannath? Because of Prabhupada. Prabhupada says Supreme Lord, so beautiful, and everyone would say, yeah, so beautiful. And Jagannath is beautiful in that way. And for us, he's beautiful. But for somebody who is not seeing through the eyes of a devotee, he cannot understand it. He will say, if in Africa or in some South America, they have some aborigines, they'll be having some peculiar forms, and then they're worshipping, and then there is uh, voodoo, and this so many other things. They have different worships. Now it don't make much, but Jagannath make. It is not some primitive. It's a most evolved, highest form of Lord. Because Krishna in ecstasy becomes Jagannath, right? So it's a much more deeper form. And that form, which is highest, and Prabhupada is taking to the West and making Rath Yatra and doing. How is it possible? Because a devotee is there. And that is the point. Prabhupada is telling that because of the fragrance of his lotus feet carried by the air mixed with the aroma of tulsi, their minds changed. Instead of becoming one with the Supreme, they thought it wise to be a devotee. Becoming a servitor of the Lord, lotus feet of Lord, is better than becoming one with the Lord. This is a very great benediction they received. They could immediately give up their impersonal conception. And Deva amushyavadanaसितपद्मकोशम् उद्वीक्ष्य सुन्दरतराधिक कुण्डहासम् लब्धाशिषः पुनरवीक्ष तधीम अङ्घ्रि ध्वन्द्वं नकार्न मुनिसर्षणयं निधत्यो. Brahma is telling the Lord's beautiful face appeared to them like the inside of a blue lotus, and the Lord's smile appeared to be a blooming jasmine flower. After seeing the face of the Lord, the sages were fully satisfied, and when they wanted to see him further, they looked upon the nails of his lotus feet, which resembled rubies. Thus, they viewed the Lord's transcendental body again and again. And so they finally achieved meditation on Lord's personal features. This is a very nice point. And this is actually the purpose. Ultimately, for us to meditate on the form of Lord. Meditate on the Lord. And we chant the holy name, then from Nama, what comes? Rupa. You will be able to meditate on the form of Lord. Then comes Guna, then Leela. Like that. It's a progression. Now here they could get the meditation on the form of Lord, which is a perfection. If we are able to just chanting, a person gets darshan of lotus feet of the Lord. And he continuously meditates and chanting and seeing the lotus feet of Lord. And then slowly the upper portion, and slowly till the navel, and then the chest, and then the face and smile. Like that, the whole form is manifested for a devotee who is very sincerely chanting from Nam. Now here, the perfection is what we have to do at the end of life. Not end of life actually. Every day it is only the purpose. Why we do all this hearing, reading, chanting is so that our consciousness is fixed on the Lord. Our meditation on the Lord is stable. It does not go away. Generally, material, there will be so much distractions. This, that. And for us to meditate on Lord is difficult. But morning, why we do so much 1 hour, 2 hour hearing. So the goal is very fixed. Purpose of my life is just to meditate on the Lord. There's nothing, because that's what is the result you get. Death is not actually exam. Death is the result only. Exam is happening now. How much we have done every day is an exam, and the exam is how much we have remembered Krishna. And based on this, we can say whether I am pass or fail. The result comes at the time. So, mark sheet is the death. The mark sheet tells, okay, now better go to a species of animal or demigod or Vaikuntha, whatever is the result that is given. And every day, how much I passed or failed is based on how much I remembered Krishna. That's all. That's a more hearing, more chanting, more reading of the day. We have perfected that day. Otherwise, just wasted in making so much money and making some arrangements in this metal world to survive. And anyway, everything is going to go. Why to spend so much money and making all these things permanent? After 50 years, there is nothing like settling in this world. We have to prepare of living this world. People start settling after 50. No, they should start preparing for living so that they focus more and more on the holy name and pastimes and all these things. And this is what Kumaras, they what they achieved is they just meditate on the Lord. And we so much is glorified over them. And what is their achievement? Did they make big buildings? Did they make some big projects? Did they make any followers? What they did, why Kumaras are glorified here? Because they could meditate on the Lord. The achievement they could do is They went to Vaikuntha, saw the form of Lord, meditated on it. That's what is told. Simple. Thus, they viewed the Lord's transcendental body again and again, and so they finally achieved meditation on Lord's personal feature. That's all. All the way they went to get that. And that's what we have to do sitting here. Same thing. Meditate on the form of Lord. This is the form of Lord which is meditated upon by the followers of yoga process. And it is pleasing to the yogis in meditation. It is not imaginary by factual, as proved by great yogis. The Lord is full in 8 kinds of achievements, but for others, these achievements are not possible in full perfection. Now, what the sages are doing, they are not interested in something material. If they want, they can easily get because they are yoga. They have so many siddhis. Like we sing in Hanuman Chalisa, Ashta Siddhi Navanidike Data, Asavardina Janaki Mata. So the chant about Hanumanji that he can Ashta Siddhi Navanidike Data. He can give 8 types of siddhis. Now, if he is able to give something, that means he must be having it. And what all the siddhis, what Hanuman is doing, is not making a big empire, business empire, or any other empire. Hanuman is just sitting and meditating on the Lord. That's all. And with all these things, what you have achieved? Meditation on Lord. And what are these yogis who have all this, like Kardamuni, he could make a aerial mansion, not a mansion, he made a city only, which is floating and flying around. And with all these yogic powers, he was not utilizing them. Just for some time he utilized. And once he got the children, 9 daughters and 1 son, he said, okay, done. I'm leaving. I want to go and meditate on the Lord again. That is what is the perfection for yogis. And they have so many siddhis. For them, just they can make a building just by some few mantras, finish. They need not purchase big place and do so many things to make them. They just can make. They can create planets only. What to speak of purchasing some plot of land in very prime location in the city. No, they just make a planet, and so they can create people. Why I'm telling is that it's with all these things, what they want to do, meditate on the Lord. This is the form of Lord which is meditated upon by the followers of yoga process. That's all. So the Lord is, and Prabhupada is also writing nicely. The success of yoga process is very nicely described here. What is it? It is specifically mentioned that the form of Lord as four-handed Narayana is the object of meditation for the followers of Yoga Marg. That's all. With all this so much intense tapasya, they have very great determination. Materially, they can make so much. All these big industrialists, they're working so hard to build a big empire and purchase things, purchase big companies, and they're trying to do so much. But yogis don't need to do that. They just sit in one place, chant few mantras. They can make such empires in no time. In the modern age, there are so many so-called yogis who do not target their meditation on the four-handed Narayana form. Some of them try to meditate on something impersonal or wide, but that is not approved by the great yogis who follow the standard method. The real Yoga Marga process is to control the senses. Sit in a solitary and sanctified place and meditate on the four-handed form of Narayana, decorated as described in this chapter, as he appeared before the 4 sages. This Narayana form is Krishna's expansion. Therefore, Krishna consciousness movement, which is now spreading in the real topmost process of yoga, practice. Prabhupada writes. Now, all this thing is for meditation only, right? Prabhupada made ISKCON so that all the people can come, take darshan of Krishna, meditate on his form. Krishna consciousness is the highest yoga performed by trained devotional yogis. Despite all the allurements of yoga practice, the 8 kinds of yogic perfections are hardly achievable by the common man. But here it is described that the Lord who appeared before the four sages is himself full of 8 kinds of those perfections. The highest Yoga Marga process is to concentrate the mind 24 hours a day on Krishna. This is called Krishna consciousness. See, what is there? To concentrate the mind 24 hours a day. That's what we all want to achieve. We are hearing, reading, chanting so that one day we continuously meditate on the Lord. This is called Krishna consciousness. The yoga system is described in Srimad Bhagavatam Bhagavad Gita, or as recommended by Patanjali Yogi process, is different from the nowadays practice Hatha Yoga as it is generally understood in the Western world. Real yoga practice is to control the senses, and such control is established to concentrate the mind on Narayana. All this yoga is to concentrate on Lord only, that's all. Prabhupada is so clearly explaining. And the form of Lord, and to practice concentration of mind. So, what to do? One has to sit with the head and the back in a straight line. One must practice in a secluded place, sanctified by sacred atmosphere. The yogi should observe the rule and regulations of brahmacharya to strictly live a life of self-restraint and celibacy. Now, Prabhupada is, so those are the standards. And Prabhupada is telling one cannot practice yoga in a congested city. That is not possible. Living a life of extravagance, indulging unrestricted sex indulgence and adultery of the tongue. Yoga practice necessitates controlling the senses, and the beginning of sense control is to control the tongue. So that is the point. One who can control the tongue can also have control over the other senses. One cannot allow the tongue to take all kinds of forbidden food and drink at the same time. Advance in practice of yoga. It is very regrettable fact that many unauthorized so-called yogis come to the Western countries and exploit people's inclination towards yoga practice. Such unauthorized yogis even dare to say publicly that one can indulge in the habit of drinking at the same time practice meditation. All these people sit in the morning meditation, and after once meditation is done, then they are happy with their sense gratification. It won't work in just very superficial. Prabhupada is telling 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna recommended yoga practice to Arjuna, but Arjuna frankly expressed his inability to follow the stringent rules and regulations of yoga system. One should be very practical in every field of activity and should not waste his valuable time in practicing useless gymnastic feats in the name of yoga. Real yoga is to search out the four-handed super soul within one's heart and see him perpetually in meditation. Such continued meditation is called samadhi. We all need to go to, like for great Vaishnavas, when they leave their body, they do samadhi. Why? Because they are already in samadhi. That's why they do samadhi for them. That means samadhi means what here? Is continue meditation on Supreme Lord. The object of meditation, four-handed Narayana with bodily decoration as described in the chapter. However, one wants to meditate upon something void or impersonal. It will take a very long time before you achieve success in yoga practice. We cannot concentrate our mind on something void or impersonal. Real yoga is to fix mind on the form of the Lord 400. And Prabhupada writes further, by meditating one can understand that God is seated within one's heart. Even if one does not want it, God is seated within the heart of everyone. Not only is he seated in the heart of human being, but he is also within the heart of cats and dogs. Bhagavad Gita certifies this fact by declaration of the Lord, Ishvara Sarvabhutana Hridesh. The Ishvara supreme control of the world is seated in the heart of everyone. Not only is he in everyone's heart, but he is also present within the atom. No place is vacant or devoid of the presence of Lord. So everywhere Supreme Lord is there. Okay. And in that is the statement. God is present everywhere, and his right of proprietorship applies to everything. The feature of the Lord by which he is present everywhere is called Paramatma. So that feature is Paramatma feature, which the yogis meditate. The difference between Atma and Paramatma is that the Atma, the soul, is present only in particular body, Paramatma is present everywhere. And then Prabhupada writes further, wow, so huge purport. Prabhupada is trying to make a point very emphatically. Super soul being seated in every one can witness everyone's activity, past, present, future. So if you want to know more details on super soul, it's a very nice purport. All the details are given of the super soul, what he does and what all things Prabhupada writing in the Upanishads. The super soul is described as being seated with the individual soul as friend and witness. And Prabhupada writes, the super soul gives the individual soul all facility to achieve whatever he desires to enjoy in this world. Suffering is a reaction to living entities' propensity to try to lord it over the material world. But the Lord instructs uh, his friend, the individual soul, who is also his son, to give up all engagement, simply surrender unto him. This is, and Prabhupada says that in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated in Bhagavad Gita that a person who is always absorbed in Krishna conscious topmost yogi, yoginam sarvesham madhate nantara, shraddhavan bhajate yogas. Of all the yogis, who is shraddhavan bhajate. What is Krishna consciousness? As the individual soul is present by his consciousness throughout the entire body, so the super soul or Paramatma is present throughout the whole creation by super consciousness. This super consciousness energy is imitated by the individual soul who has limited consciousness. I can understand what is going on within my limited body, but I cannot feel what is going on in another's body. I am present throughout my body by one consciousness, but my consciousness is not present in another's body. The super soprano, however, being present everywhere and within everyone, is also conscious of everyone's existence. So, kshetrajnam chapimam vitti sarva kshetreshu bharata. So, Lord is conscious of everything. Say, now I am speaking, I am conscious of it. Lord is also knowing, but I cannot know what all of you are thinking. But Lord knows what all of you are thinking. So He's conscious of what is happening with you continuously. This super consciousness can be achieved, however, by dovetailing individual consciousness with this super consciousness, with consciousness of the Supreme. This dovetailing process is called surrender or Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada gave a very nice definition of Krishna consciousness here. So he's asking what is Krishna consciousness and he's explaining. I am conscious of my body, you are conscious of your body, but there is another consciousness who is conscious of all living entities. So by practice, the dovetailing this process of surrendering Krishna consciousness, we have to the super conscious can be achieved, however, by dovetailing individual consciousness with the consciousness. We have to start understanding through the consciousness of Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. From the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, we learn very clearly that Arjuna in the beginning did not want to fight. So he's thinking in his own way. But after the understanding of Bhagavad Gita, he doubted his consciousness. So now I am thinking the way I want. That is individual consciousness. But what should become to me? I should start thinking the way Krishna wants. And then that becomes Krishna consciousness. That's what. Doubting consciousness, the super consciousness of Krishna. He was then in Krishna consciousness. A person in full Krishna consciousness acts by the dictations of Krishna. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, dictation is used through the transparent medium of spiritual master. So now Krishna don't directly speak, it comes to spiritual. When one is sufficiently trained and acts in submissive faith and love for Krishna under the directions of bona fide spiritual master, the dovetailing process becomes more firm and accurate. This stage of devotional service by the devotee in Krishna consciousness is the most perfect stage of yoga system. At this stage, Krishna, the super soul, dictates from within. The initially spiritual master, after that, directly we can get from the Lord. The purpose one has to be acquainted with God from both within and without, and one must take dictations from within and without to act in Krishna consciousness. This is the highest perfectional stage of the human form of life and the topmost perfection of all yoga. And provided for a perfect yogi, there are 8 kinds of super achievements. One can become lighter than air, one can become smaller than atom, one can become bigger than mountain, one can achieve whatever he desires, one can control like the Lord and so on. But when one rises to the perfectional stage of receiving dictations from the Lord, that is greater than any stage of mental achievements above mentioned. The breathing exercise of yoga system, which is generally practiced, is just beginning. The breathing exercise just made. What is more, in meditation and the super soul is just another step forward. But to obtain direct contact with super soul and take dictations from him is the highest perfection. So directly contact. And Prabhupada, this breathing exercise of meditation practice were very difficult even 5,000 years ago. Otherwise, Arjuna would not have rejected the proposal of Krishna that he adopt this system. This age of Kali is called fallen age. In this age, people in general are short-lived, very slow to understand self-realization or spiritual life. They are mostly unfortunate and mostly unfortunate, and therefore, if someone is a little bit interested in self-relation, is likely to be misguided by so many frauds. The only way to realize a perfect stage of yoga is to follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita and practice by Lord Chaitanya. This is simple. This is the simplest and highest perfection of yoga practice. So, I'll just complete. The largest number of Indians follow this yoga process, and in United States is generally spreading in many cities. It is very easy and practical for this age, especially for those who are serious about success in yoga. No other process of yoga can be successful in this age. Prabhupada is so clear. No other processes of yoga can be successful in this age. The meditation process was possible in the golden age, Satyuga, because people in that age used to live for thousands of years. If one wants success in practicing yoga, it is advised that he takes to the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he will actually feel himself making progress. But those who are taken to the most sublime Bhakti Yoga system, whose practice devotional service in transcendental law of Krishna, can testify of this its happy and easy execution. The forces Sanaka, Sanatan, Sanandana, Sanat Kumar also become attracted by the features of the Lord and the transcendental aroma of the dust of his lotus feet, as already described. And then Prabhupada, the yoga necessitates controlling the senses. The bhakti of Krishna consciousness is the process of purifying the senses. We don't work on controlling, but we try to purify them. So engage them in a positive way in service of Krishna. That's how we control the senses. When the senses are purified, they are automatically controlled. Engaging in a proper way, taking prasadam, hearing about the Lord, senses are getting purified. If they are pure, we can control. And cannot stop the activities of the senses. So by artificial means, we should not forcefully stop. But like sometimes people say, "Oh, I will not eat for 6 months. I will not eat this. I will not eat this." Now it is not the way. It is they are trying to control the yoga process. Instead of not eating sweets, you offer it and eat. and you eat in a regulated way. Okay, weekly once in 15 days, once like that. So instead of making it zero, we make it in a positive. One cannot stop the activity of senses by artifice, but if one purifies the senses by engaging in service of that, the senses not only can be controlled by the rubbish engagement, but can be engaged in Lord's transcendental service as aspired by the four sages. Therefore, a manifested concoction of the superlative mind. It is the process enjoyed in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we will end. We have few shlokas, but we'll take them tomorrow. Thank you all very much.